Thank you for joining me. I'm Alex, and I want to talk about Disney today. Now, Disney currently has a bit of a problem because their whole thing is large gatherings. So they have cruises, they have parks, and they make movies, which, is also currently not a great idea. Obviously, they also just launched Disney Plus, and there's a few other TV-ish things that they do that obviously won't suffer right now. And I'm not really worried about Disney at all because they've been around a while, and I really don't think that they'll be affected too much by the current situation. Obviously, there will be a huge dip in earnings, but I'm not worried that they can make it out the other side. So current price is $101.24, which gives them a market cap of $183 billion. Dividend yield is 1.77% with a almost 32% payout ratio, which is pretty decent. Dividend is fairly low, and due to the current market downturn, there's obviously far better dividend payers out there. But overall, with a reasonably safe company, with a reasonably low payout ratio, I think that 1.77% is pretty decent, especially with current bond yields. So there is that. Revenue $70 billion, way up. Earnings $11 billion, slightly down. PE of 17, and forward PE of 23 is kind of a problem, and I never like it when the forecasted earnings are actually going down. That is always a bit of a red flag for me, but again, we're talking about Disney, and Disney is going to be just fine. And obviously, this forecast was also made before the current situation happened, and before they stopped doing, cruises, parks, large gatherings, everything. So a bit of a problem there, and this year will be a pretty difficult year for them, but I really think that Disney is one of the companies that's going to pick back up right away when the current situation is over. So there will be more of a lost year there rather than an overall downturn in things. Total assets $194 billion, total liabilities $100 billion, total stockholders' equity $89 billion, and all three basically tripled from the previous year, which is just amazing. How do you increase total liabilities by 50 billion and get almost 100 billion in assets? That is just really nice. So overall, I would say that the balance sheet, it doesn't look too great, but it is pretty good. And so, again, not worried about them making it through there. Really no reason why they shouldn't. Dividend yield's pretty decent. PE is pretty decent. Balance sheet is pretty decent. So overall, I think that for a growth investor, obviously there's nothing here for you, and I don't think that Disney will ever return to, even double-digit growth. Current situation and recovery excluded. So I think that Disney will be steadily growing for basically the future. For a dividend investor, I think this is a fairly solid investment, and I wouldn't even mind a fairly big investment here. Even though the dividend is not that great, I think that the dividend growth is going to be pretty nice, and the payout ratio is pretty low. So overall, I think that for a dividend investor, this looks pretty enticing. For a value investor, balance sheet looks pretty good. PE looks decent. Forward, not so good, obviously. But again, if you can discount this year, then I think things are going to start looking pretty decent. Revenue growing significantly, earnings not so much, but not a problem there. Dividend is also nice. So overall, I think for a value investor, I would also not mind a pretty big investment here. If the investment horizon is sufficiently long, I think this is a pretty good investment for pretty much everyone, unless you're really looking for those 10x returns in a couple years, which obviously is not going to happen here. But for everyone else, sufficiently long outlook. This is a very solid company, decently run, good balance sheet, overall pretty nice. So obviously do your own research, but it looks pretty nice. That's it for me for today. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I'm coming out with more videos every day before market open. I hope you have a successful day.